Hey everybody, so I promised y'all I was gonna get a damn review out on time before the next episode, and as Goddess Bianca is my witness, I'm gonna do it. I am really busting my butt off. Does that sound dirty? Sorry, I think I'm having a Joslyn Fox moment or something. I meant to say I'm working my butt off to get this commentary to you on time, so y'all don't come for me with pitchforks and torches. Ooh, kinky. So let's discuss the Queens of Talk, which is episode 9. And of course, one of my favorite parts of the show are the reactions of the saved queens following the lip syncs for your life and the queen elimination. This week, the energy of the room definitely changed because our queen of grand entrances is gone. That's right, Laganja Estranja got sent packing by our little black horse. Dark horse. I think she was trying to say black sheep and dark horse at the same time. Our little drag queen that could, Joslyn Fox. I found it to be funny how the queens are still throwing a little shade towards Laganja with their subtle remarks, stemming from like Trinity pointing out playfully it was Bianca's fault that the shit show known as the last episode of Untucked happened, and Bianca's like, it's always my fault. But the other queens are all enjoying it. But when Joslyn points out that it's Bianca who won the challenge, and Bianca goes, yes, I'm stealing the spotlight. And I forgot who chimes in after with, you're stealing everyone's moments. It's like referring to Bianca winning over like a resurgent Trinity, but it's really shading the whole stealing Laganja's moment thing. And I think it was genius. These queens are so shady and playfully funny. It makes me want to like shave and be a queen too. No, wait, no, not really. But if I did, I'd be one of those like bearded lady queens. Do you ever see like Matthew? Have you ever seen Matthew? I can't pronounce his name. You know Matthew in like drag. It's breathtaking. But speaking of shade and quite possibly irony, did y'all catch the Courtney comment about Joslyn coasting by in the competition because Joslyn thought she kind of fell middle of the pack and not bottom two? I was like, huh? If you read Reddit, Courtney, that is the same general consensus about your performance. We know you got a crap ton of polish, talent, and costuming. Where it at, girl? Joslyn is exceeding expectations. You are the one coasting, but we loves you anyway. And the producers threw some shade at Trinity when they like highlight that her next goal is to win a challenge now that she's like found her stride. And the other queens are confession shading it up, saying Joslyn is the next to go because she's so unpolished. Can we say red herring? Producers got me all thinking Trinity gonna rock out this week and build her momentum. Shady bitches. This week's mini challenge was hella entertaining. It was lovingly called Hungman with 10 scruffmen in their pit crew attire, and they were being like our letters while the queens try to decipher the clues RuPaul gives them. It's funny how all the answers at first have an A, S, and a S in it. The men folks had to turn around to reveal the letters stuck to their behind parts. It was oh so distracting. The best part of this mini challenge to me was Joslyn's confessional getting excited about the 10 scruffmens. And of course, Bianca flashing us those damn white and perfect teeth, dimples, and amazing tan. Seriously, can I go tanning with you, Bianca? Help a fella brother out here. The read on Lady Bunny in this challenge also was freaking hilarious. And I thought Bianca should have gotten that answer right. And how about Adore nailing that answer with only one letter on the board? And y'all said she was the ditzy one? But here's how weird I am. The entire game, I was more focused on like, I wonder how long it took the scruff guys to change the letters on their butts. Were they Velcroed on? Did they have to physically get out of them every clue? How long would that take if they had to get out of their underwears and change? Basically all the random crap you don't think about when there's 10 oiled up toned men on the screen, that was me. I'm like a freaking nerd. Can we discuss when Adore thinks that Ru's she-male, or whatever it's going to be called from now on, since it's not going to be she-male anymore because it has to be more PC, but it's referring to the queens boxing each other when it's obviously pointing out like late night talk shows with the Letterman style countdown and the classic talk show opening? When Courtney goes, how'd you get that? I thought it was the funniest reaction she's had yet. I was like, you go, Courtney Act, showing us that you're funny. Anywho, Dela wins this challenge and wins a year's supply of eyelashes. Okay, I don't want to sound hateful, but haven't like this year's prizes been kind of lame. They've handed out a lot of eyelashes this season, and the one queen that uses like 4 every time is Bianca, and she never wins them. I don't know if like, is the budget for this show lower now that Absolute isn't sponsoring them? It just seems there's like been a dramatic drop in the quality of prizes, and I haven't seen one trip hounded out yet. Like, what gives? So anyway, the main challenge this week has the queens hosting their very own late night talk show, and the guests are Chaz, not Chad, Bono, and Georgia Holt, who are Cher's offspring and mother respectively. Since Cher is such a pillar in the community, naturally every queen is excited, though I think Bianca is more excited she gets to host a talk show, because I think that's like the route she wants to go in media. Courtney striked confessional gold once more with her "I'm 1 degree of separation away from Cher." I thought it was such a cute reaction. They are really starting to like spin Courtney in some sort of way now. I can see it. Looks like the online rumors are becoming more factual now. And I'm really starting to enjoy the workroom segments now because of this episode, and here's why. When all the other queens are actually writing their ideas and thoughts down, what they're like gonna do in the challenge, Joslyn is rummaging around her rack to find something appropriate to wear. And Bianca, oh my Bianca, when she says Joslyn decided to go to her closet and pull out 3 ugly dresses when she thought she was going to wear 9 bikinis, I lost it. Bianca is the queen of everything this season. She nails runways, she nails challenges, she nails confessionals, and she says it in a way that you want to hear more. It's not uncomfortable like a Roxy confessional. And I know I'm always referencing Roxy negatively, but I can honestly say that I think she was a very fierce ass queen, and she was perfection on every runway, and I hope she gets another chance like on All Stars, because she really needs to show the world more of her talent. But Bianca's confessionals aren't as harsh. I think it's the comedic faces she makes. It's just perfection to me. Even Dela was getting some confessional shade in like about Joslyn. And I'm glad, because I want to see that side of Dela. I want to see that competitive side. She needs to like really differentiate herself from Jinx. But when they cut away to Trinity's confessional describing her thoughts after seeing what Joslyn was going to wear, and Trinity goes, "I think I'm going to be okay." And the way she said it, it was so hilariously shady. Oh, and if Bianca in her confessionals wasn't gold enough, how about Bianca telling Dela she wants to keep her interview light and airy, like a fart? And then, I don't know why, but I'm kind of not enjoying the Ru visiting the workroom segments anymore. I don't know why, because it highlights the fuckery of these queens' like processes while they're preparing for the main challenge. But besides Joslyn talking about Cher's vagina, this one was not that entertaining. The energy of the room really seems lower. I guess the queens are tired from like a long grueling competition, but the whole Ru workroom visitation thing seems so contrived, especially with Courtney's interaction with Ru. It seemed not genuine. It seemed like part of the plot arc of redeeming Courtney Act, but it fell flat to me. I'd rather just see more of the queens stumbling around the workroom on their own besides this, but you know, oh well. Thankfully, Joslyn calling Courtney an alien saves the middle part of the show, because I found that funny. Okay, we now have to discuss these queens and their talk shows. First, let me preface this by saying that although many on Reddit are bashing Chaz and Georgia for being so low energy, and that's the reason why so many of the queens struggle, I think they're just taking their roles of being guests on a talk show really seriously. These two aren't really known for big personalities, so what are we expecting? So anyway, Adore. Whew, girl. I mean, if I were on your show, I'd be entertained by you, but we could see that she was nervous, not prepared, and definitely not in her element. Shady editing made it seem like Adore was just going party and nodding and smiling the entire time, not getting the whole thing about the depression. I don't even think Adore is that dense. She's the one closest removed from school, so I know she knew this stuff. Crafty editors. I like Adore's polka dot dress too. It was very young and flirty. Bianca to me seemed fine. She stumbled by not asking Georgia any questions, even though Chaz was kind of steering her to do that. I honestly think Bianca thought she had more time and she was going to ask Georgia questions eventually. I think maybe they cut her off early to create suspense, or she just had bad time management. She's usually off the cuff in her acts, so the scripted thing may have done her in. But if this was Bianca at her worst, then the other queens are in trouble, because this was far from bad. And she looked amazing in that red dress with like the shorter length, and it was like an awesome talk show dress. And then Trinity, she looks stunning as usual, but girl could not get Chaz's name right to save her life. She kept calling him Chad. And I don't know about y'all, but if I were a guest on a talk show, I would maybe politely correct the host, so maybe the entire rest of the time they would say my name right. But no, not Chaz. She just let her, he just let her continue to struggle and look foolish. I thought there was some gamesmanship like on Chaz's part, because Courtney was next. And although I think Courtney did like a great job and she was the most talk show like, you could see Chaz was playing favorites here. And I agree with Michelle's like critiques about her being low energy, but you got a sense that Georgia and Chaz were more forthcoming with their answers because they liked Courtney more. And Chaz even said he had a thing for Australian women. And since Courtney looks so fishy, I could see there being some weird crush thing going. It's twisted to think about, but Courtney did look amazing, I have to say. Darian came out next, and boy, she kind of fell all over the place, literally, with her jewelry falling off and her fumbling around with her wardrobe. She looks surprisingly nervous, which seems out of place because she has such a large personality. Maybe because it was the guest that made her nervous, but I was really cringing the entire time. And when she tried to do that Cher impersonation, and then Chad says later on, like, just give me Chad Michaels any day, I was like, damn, Darian got clocked. Dayla was very charming and intelligent with her questions. She was good with her research, and I think she had a great energy, and I think she looked pretty amazing. What I felt was shady was that they showed such a small portion of her interview. It was like they were really pushing Courtney more. Even Chaz and Georgia were complimenting Dayla a lot, so I was curious why they only showed such a small snippet of her interview. Joslyn, all I gotta say is you need a verbal abortion the moment you ask Cher's mom about actual abortion. Although Joslyn was being topical, it was just not the place. It's a drag race competition interview, not CNN or the Today Show. It seemed like a tasteless question for the situation they were in, and it seemed out of the ordinary for the character of Joslyn Fox. She doesn't seem to be like the hard-hitting type, and even her talk show, she kept doing the Joslyn Fox wonk wonk boob grab thing. So to ask that type of question was weird. Other than that, she seemed funny, and the guests seemed to really enjoy her. Okay, now for the runway. And it was Animals in the Jungle realness. We've been waiting for this runway since we saw clips of Courtney's wings and Dayla's fly. I always thought it was a beetle, but the way she does that leg rub thing like flies always do leads me to believe it's a fly. I love the looks mostly. I was very pleasantly surprised by Darian's elephant costume. In still shots before the episode aired, it looked like a boring mess, but when I see it on the show, it looked amazing. I loved her makeup, but her makeup never really disappoints anyway. And I love the way her dress simulated an elephant with the nipple eyes. The way the trunk forms in front of her dress and the loose sleeves forming ears when she flaps her arms out and the tusk earrings. It was like taking an idea without being too literal. I found it to be a really good look for her. When Adore came prancing out, and I have to admit, I was excited to see how her and Paula were going to interact since Paula was such a big cheerleader for Danny Noriega in the Idol days. And initially on still shots, I thought the dramatic mask she had on was fabulous. But when it came out on the runway, it was just okay for me. I mean, she worked it and she was fierce, but I think she may not have fulfilled what they were asking of her. And it did come off a little Hannibal Lecter, like Michelle said. I'm only saying this in comparison to the other queens because Adore is fierce. Dayla finally got to unveil that fly beetle outfit we've seen so much of in previews. And her initial entrance was pretty amazing, with the fly walk being like on all fours and scuttling down the runway. I do have to say that once she was standing up, the costume lost its appeal. It wasn't as sophisticated and it came off really costumey. And then Bianca came out. And yes, it was another dress, but I'm going to overlook that because her makeup was fierce. She looked beat to the gods. I loved that black lipstick and face paint, and she looked amazing in that cheetah realness look. I was glad she didn't go too literal and came out in some cat suit, because that wouldn't be Bianca. I love the way she painted her body with cheetah print to simulate the print of her dress, which was fabulous, and her hair was so dramatic. I think this was actually one of the best outfits of this week because she stayed true to herself while fulfilling the challenge and actually exceeding at it, and that's hard to do. Joslyn Fox came out, and this was yet another misstep for her on the runway. She tried to be like an amalgam of different types of animals, and in a way, that's Joslyn, I guess. Layering a lot of looks on top of the other, but it didn't work for me. It was not sophisticated enough, and had some zebra print here, and some feathers there, and some claws over here. And I mean, if this were some futuristic, like bounty hunter type runway, then she'd nail it, but not for an animal jungle type runway. And when she did that reveal and Michelle clocked that meaty tuck, hashtag meaty tuck, I died. I love Michelle. Give Michelle and Bianca a critiquing show for like an entire hour, and I would watch it. And then Trinity K. Bonet came out, and that runway look was everything. Trinity is the runway queen this year, and this look just cemented it. Just her face paint alone was breathtaking. How much time do these queens have to do makeup? and prepare, because between Bianca's paint and Trinity's whole ensemble, it must have been like hours. She looks stunning in that massive feathery ensemble, although it did read Thanksgiving turkey to me, but it was a stunning Thanksgiving turkey. Then finally, and not surprisingly, we have Courtney act unveiling the Swan costume. It looked more angel to me, but whatever. And you know what? Besides the awesome wing reveal, the rest of it was kind of ho-hum for me. The bodice was weird and ill-fitting, but her face did look amazing with the feathers. And you can see Chaz just popping a boner at this one. It was a good look, but it was not as breathtaking as Trinity's, nor was it as complete as Trinity's. And that's just my opinion. I think Trinity stole Courtney's thunder, but they put Courtney last on the runway so she would have like more impact. I wasn't feeling Courtney appealing for her look to be on blogs and Facebook. I heard like those wings were Darian's. I don't know how true that is, but you know, oh well. The judges' critiques were interesting this week. I was waiting for the whole Adore and Paula interaction, and it was nice to see, and it wasn't overly drawn out. I wish they actually would have milked it more, but it was nice that Paula remembered good old Danny Noriega from the Idol days. I was pleasantly surprised by Paula on the judges table, actually. She was strangely coherent and her critiques made sense. Like, what happened to Loopy? I might be on a cocktail of uppers and downers, Paula. But it was really nice to see her being relevant as a judge. And as far as the rest of the judging, I think they were mostly fair, except for the obvious favoritism towards Courtney from Chaz. And the fact that Michelle thinks she was seeing Dela more. And Dela was like in probably the most costumey costume she's shown us thus far, with the same mannerisms and affectations. And for Michelle to say she's seeing the wall come down, I was like, Michelle? No, bad Michelle, you stop lying now. And finally, I hate the fact they put Trinity K. Bonet in the bottom two. I am sorry, yes, I have not always been the biggest Trinity fan, but she has redeemed herself so much, and her runways have never been less than spectacular. But to put her in the bottom two with Adore Delano, that was a farce. Yes, Chaz and Georgia Holt said besides the abortion question, Joslyn did great, but a question about abortion that takes the guests that far off guard is a big faux pas. And Joslyn's runway look could not even broach the subject of being appropriate enough to make her safe. It was such a farce. And we already knew who was going to win the lip sync, because Adore still has that silver outfit with the bitch in white hair still left. So the suspense was completely sucked out of the room. So as I alluded to earlier, it was Adore versus Trinity K. Bonet in the lip sync for your life to Paula Abdul's Vibology. I remember when that song was released back in the day, and I remember hating its guts. But listening to it now, I don't mind it actually. It's far from the best song they could have used from Paula's catalog of songs, but it wasn't bad. The fact that Trinity and Adore absolutely slay this song is what made it better for me too. They both were giving that sensual, seductive pacing to match the song, and when they start going all floor humpy, they remind us all of the Raja Carmen lip sync when they writhe on the floor and seductively dance together to Curiously, another Paula song. Which, straight up, there must be something about Paula songs that make drag queens want to kai-kai with each other. But this was the lip sync for your motherfucking life that should have been the non-elimination. It's a shame that Ru didn't just go, fuck it, you're both safe. That would have been more dramatic. But the way Trinity handled that exit was the epitome of a class act. Trinity was nothing but positive and thankful and so genuine. I actually got teary-eyed because it took until episode 7 for me to really start appreciating Trinity, and now she's gone a short time after. I think that this was like the most humble, uplifting, and mature exit of any queen, and she's still so young. She was definitely raised right. Like, if she wasn't in the running for Miss Congeniality before, she's now in. Sorry, Joslyn. So time for Untucked. I just realized when Ru said that the runway was supposed to be safari realness that technically only Bianca and Darian were the only two that followed the directions. I'll give Trinity a pass too, because I saw some peacock feathers. She could have been one of them African birds of paradise or something. And I'll even give Dela a pass because you see all them flies buzzing around the safari animals' butts or around their poop, and that could be safari-like. But the others, not so much. Adore's panther could have been like jungle realness, I gather. Another thing I hate is the damn red herrings they throw at you in the Untucked previews, especially the part where it looks like Joslyn's really going to break down, but we know what really happens. It's just a joke about them going back and telling Cher Joslyn was an asshole. It's like, ugh, editing. And then Bianca was asking Adore what she was thinking, like on their way to the lounge, and Adore said she was lip syncing. So she was already aware that she was going to be in the bottom, and she already called it that Trinity was going to be going against her in the lip sync. I appreciate Adore taking ownership of her shortcomings instead of making excuses. She says she's trying her hardest and she's frustrated because she knows she can do better, but she's not afraid to admit when she's fucking up. It's refreshing. And what was up with Darian this entire Untucked? She was just throwing out read after shady read towards anyone, from Trinity not knowing Chaz's name, and then towards Dayla again for hiding behind yet another Dayla style costume. She was just throwing out zingers and she looked real bitter. It was funny that Dayla in her confessionals was hoping Bianca would start picking up on Darian's shade and put her in her place, and you could see it was like brewing. Bianca was eye rolling and her makeup already made her look like she was ready to spring up and start chewing your head off, like literally. So I was just waiting for it. And then it happens. Bianca calls Darian a shady elephant. I was living for it. Hashtag shady elephant. And then Bianca clocks Joslyn about her accessorizing and her habit of wearing like the entire jewelry store. Oh, and we can't forget Bianca clocking all the Drag Race alum putting out albums. I've heard a lot and it is painful. I do, though, enjoy Working Girl by Shangela Laquifa Wadley, and I do love Diamond Crowned Queen by Raja and Hot Couture by Manila. Oh, and anything William, Detox, and Vicky put out. But they do like parody songs of already established hits, so... But, okay, I'm digressing yet again. But they do have like an interesting conversation about drag aesthetics and levels of polish between Trinity and Bianca. And Trinity asks a valid question about how queens who do not have that high level of drag like she does are able to adapt in this competition when they're already there. They don't have the luxury of learning and then applying right away because they already have all their crap there and they can't rush out and buy new ones. They're like stuck with what they got. But Bianca puts it all in perspective and shows us why she is, in my mind, like the front runner by reminding them that even unpolished queens have won because they were able to apply all their energies to the challenges in that moment. And they use all of their other strengths to finesse out the wins. So let's get to the gold bar action. And to me, the gold bar was like a moment that could have been. They were going to show the queens some snippets of what the other queens say in their confessionals. And the producers show mainly tame crap instead of the real meaty stuff that the queens say about each other. This would have been a much better time if they had shown like all the real stuff, the filthy reads, you know, the shadiness. If these queens could have seen the other queens reading each other to filth, it would have produced a much better conversation for the remaining queens than the segue into Courtney Act's epiphany that she had one day. Like when everything shifted 360. I mean, it's a great story and all, don't get me wrong. But I wanted to see more shade. That's what I want to see in Untucked. That's what we all want to see in Untucked. Not the soft, sentimental moments, but the all-out, I've had it officially moments. You know, the throw a drink at Mimi moments. The Boogers versus Heathers moments. I feel robbed of that because the producers wanted to be more PC, I guess. That pink box outcome could have been so much more than it was. So disappointing. But at least we got to see Bianca calling someone out for them being more bitter and hateful than herself. Darian, and that's really hard to do. And we at least get another parting shot of Trinity being a world-class act after her elimination. She's very excited for the future, and the way she conducted herself, she should be. She did an amazing job on those runways and those lip syncs, so she should be so very proud of herself. But you know what I don't understand? What happened to that moment that we saw way back in the day when they're showing previews of Untucked, when she's telling Dayla like all this stress is really bad for her physical health being? Like what happened to that moment? And there was also another moment of Untucked where Joslyn like raises her legs in the air like a few Untucks ago that showed up in the previews and didn't show up in the final edit. Like are they maybe editing that stuff out because it would have given too much away? I don't understand. But there are stuff that showed up in the previews way back before the show started that have not shown up thus far this season. So I don't know. I don't know what editing is doing. I don't know if they're editing on the fly or as they go, but who knows? But I did it. Yes, that is my review of the Queens of Talk, episode 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race season 6. Yes, I'm going to get this out before Monday night's new episode, which is episode 10. We already see snippets of it. We see them saying, hey, Bianca, Courtney, you haven't lip synced yet. And Bianca's like, and? So that's going to be an awesome show. I can't wait. It's the Bridal Makeover Challenge. And y'all know what the twist was. If you have the iOS app and you saw the twist Ru gave them, I was like, shady bitch. But it's going to be a great episode. I'm really excited that I got this one out on time. I think. I've recorded it on time. Now let's see how editing goes. But thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for all your feedback. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks for subscribing. It makes me so happy that I've got an audience. I don't care how big or small my audience is. I'm just happy that I have an audience. I love doing reviews for y'all. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do making them. The season is almost over. I'll be sad-faced, so I gotta find something else to do. Maybe I'll do some more vlogging after. But thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next episode.